Thank you for joining us today for this Collector for ArcGIS webinar. I've got a lot of great information to share with you. My name is Haley Conway and I work at Esri Canada in the Education and Research Department, primarily responsible for creating educational resources and showing teachers and students how to use GIS in their teaching and learning. What is the Collector app? Collector is a downloadable app which works on Windows, Apple, and Android devices. It allows you and your students to go outside and collect information about what's happening in the world around them. This could be anything from trees in the schoolyard, to the types of rocks found at a local mine site, to different graffiti sites in the neighborhood. The app works by accessing the internal GPS unit in your phone or tablet. If you're standing in front of a fire hydrant and you'd like to add yourself onto the map, simply let the app locate you, or tap the map with your finger to locate yourself. You're also able to attach pictures and videos of the feature, which you can take on the spot. Once you click Save, the point gets saved into an ArcGIS Online web map. Many people can add data onto the same map to build a collaborative and robust map. To reiterate the previous slide, here are some quick facts about the app. It uses the internal GPS of your device to locate you. It allows you to fill out information about the feature you're collecting. This could include province, date, comments, time, or any other questions you'd like answered. You can take pictures or videos on your device while you're in the field and include them on the map. If you won't have service in the field, or if you don't have a large data plan, you can download the map offline, collect your data, and once you get back into Wi-Fi, your points will be synced with ArcGIS Online. If you choose to work online, your edits will be saved in real time. Finally, the app works on almost any device. There are a couple considerations to note before I show you how to set up your own Collector project. In order to collect features, you need somewhere to save them. A dataset in ArcGIS Online is referred to as a feature layer. We'll go over how to create your own shortly. Once you've created a new feature layer, you must add it onto a map and save it. The Collector app will only show web maps as available to edit. Story maps are not compatible with the app. It is recommended that when symbolizing your feature layer, make the symbol slightly larger than you normally would. This is to ensure that a user is able to easily identify points while they're looking at the map on their device. And finally, you must have an organizational account to use Collector. Public or Google Plus accounts do not work with the app. Additionally, keep these points in mind while you're planning a Collector project. Taking your map offline is a powerful option. However, you must enable your map for offline use first. This is done in the properties of the map, also known as the item description page in ArcGIS Online. If your map within the Collector app has the word download beside it on an Android device, or the symbol of a cloud with an arrow on an Apple device, it's ready to be taken offline. If the map does not have this symbol, that means you cannot download it for offline use, and you need to go change the settings of the web map. Sharing your map to a group will make it easier for students and other users to find and use it. The way you actually collect features appears slightly different on each device. I'll show a comparison between iOS and Android shortly. We're almost at the demonstration. Just remember, in order to start a new Collector project, you must first create a feature layer, add it to a web map, and then you can go outside and explore. The app looks like a tiny white clipboard with a blue background. I encourage you to download the app after this presentation and test it out. As a reminder, you need an ArcGIS Online organizational account in order to use the app. Here's what the app looks like on two different devices, Android on the left and Apple on the right. Once you log into the app using your ArcGIS Online username and password, you'll see a list of maps available within your organization that you can use with the app. You can see that if the map has the word download or a cloud with a tiny arrow pointing down below the title, the map is available to download onto your device and use in offline mode. Once you've chosen a map to edit, you will be presented with the map screen. The blue dot represents your location, which has been found with your device's internal GPS. You can also choose the location with your finger and tapping where you'd like to add a point. Once you're happy with the location, click the plus sign. That will bring you to this final screen where you will write the information about your feature. In this example about tree health, we want to know if the tree has bugs, if it's a good climbing tree, the diameter of the tree in meters, etc. Once we fill out that information, we can attach a picture or video to the point. This is symbolized by a paperclip in Android and a camera icon in Apple. Finally, the last step is to save or publish the point into ArcGIS Online, either by clicking on the checkmark or the submit button. Now that we've seen how the app works, let's take a look at how to create a new collector project from scratch. Traditionally, when we create a new feature layer in ArcGIS Online, we do it by creating a blank CSV file. The way this works is each column represents a different question that will appear in the collector app. If you're using a CSV file, you need to include a latitude and longitude field. Also, when you're creating a field name, there can be no special characters or spaces. This is a little bit of a roundabout, longer way to create a feature layer, and recently ArcGIS Online released a new and easier way to create a new dataset in ArcGIS Online. Once you log into your account, there's a new Apps button right beside your name at the top right. The Apps button portal that will take you to all different sites that Esri offers. I'm going to direct your attention to the ArcGIS for Developers site. This site is traditionally used by coders when they're building a new app to work with Esri products. However, there is a really easy way to create a new feature layer by clicking Layers at the top right and Create New Layer. As with anything in ArcGIS Online, we need to give our new layer a title, tags, and a description. Tags are keywords to show how ArcGIS Online searches for different objects. Separate different tags with a comma. The next thing you need to decide is what type of geometry this is going to be. Geometry is a GIS word for the type of data. There's 3 different types: points, lines, or polygons, which is an area. In this example, we're going to be collecting gum that we find on the sidewalk, which we're going to say is points. The next step is to set up the different fields you're going to use. This is exactly the same as setting up different columns in a CSV file, except you do not need to include a latitude or longitude field. Type in the name of your fields and choose the field type. You have 4 different options, depending on what type of information you want to be included in the field. String is for any text, integer and float are for numeric values, and date is for a date. If you check on required, that means that the user must fill in that field and will not be able to submit the point unless they fill in the information. Once your field is ready, just click Add. The great thing about doing it this way is that you can include spaces or special characters in your field names. This is a lot faster than creating a new feature layer using a CSV file. I've added 4 new fields, and now I just need to scroll down for the last option. By default, ArcGIS Online is letting us attach images and other files. I would recommend turning this on so that when you're using the collector app, you can take a picture or video of the feature and attach it to the point. The other option is to enable the layer to be taken offline. I would also recommend checking this option on, as it will allow you to download the map for offline use. If you do not have this checked on, you will not see the download or cloud icon with an arrow, which will allow you to take your map offline. Once you've done all of these steps, click Create Layer, and the layer will appear in your My Contents pane of your ArcGIS Online account. Here it is. The next thing we're going to do is open up the item details and change just a couple settings of this layer. In the Settings tab, if you scroll down, you can see that editing is turned on, which is a good thing. If this was not checked on, we would not be able to use this with the Collector app. But the next option is really handy when you're working with students. Keep track of who created and last updated features. When you check this on, anybody who adds a point onto your map will have their username and the date and time they created their feature appended to the pop-up. I'll show you what this looks like in a moment. Again, I would highly recommend turning this option on when you're working with students. You can keep all the other options as a default. It's saying it's allowing us to add, update, and delete features. People can see all the features on the map. However, you might consider turning this off if you're concerned about students cheating or looking at each other's work. Once you've looked through the options, the very last one is again to enable disconnected editing. This is very important if you want to take your map offline. Click Save, and all of these changes will be saved permanently. The next step is to add this layer onto a new map. We'll go back into My Content, click the tiny arrow, and add the layer to new map with full editing control. This opens a blank brand new base map with our layer on it. If I open up the table, and we'll see all the different fields I just added, but there's no data. That's because we haven't used it with Collector yet. The next thing I like to do is zoom the map into the location where I'm going to be collecting data, just so it makes the map a little bit faster to load. In this case, I'm going to zoom into downtown Toronto. Now we need to save our map, and again, give it a title, a tag, and a brief description. Now this map will appear in my Content folder. As you can see, both the map and the dataset or feature layer are not shared. By default, anytime you create anything in ArcGIS Online, you, the creator, are the only person who's able to see it. In order for other people to use this in the Collector app, we need to change this sharing level. I'm going to select both features and click Share. I mentioned previously that it's really powerful to add this into a group so it's easier to find in Collector. I have a group called Collector for ArcGIS, and I'm going to click OK. The very last thing I'm going to do is put a picture for this map. It just makes it even a little bit nicer to find. Now let's open the Collector app and see how this all works. This is my phone in real time. I'm going to collect a point on a map sitting right here at my desk. First step is to launch the app, and I'm already logged in. What it does is shows every single map in my ArcGIS Online organization that's able to be used with Collector. As you can see, this can become a lot of maps, 62. This is why I always recommend sharing your Collector project with a group. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see a list of all of the different groups that you're in. I know I shared it with my Collector for ArcGIS map, and this limits the results down to 5, which is much more manageable to search. If I scroll down, I can see my GUM map is right here and ready to go. To open it, all I do is click directly on the item, and it opens the map right up. As an aside, since I'm sitting inside my office right now, I obviously don't have very good reception to the sky. An important consideration when you're using the Collector app is to make sure you're not in a building, under a heavy canopy, or that it's not very cloudy. Otherwise, your location accuracy is not going to be very good. I'm going to zoom in, and you can see that my map thinks I'm currently sitting down by the Don River, which I'm not, but that's okay for this example. The very first step is to click on the plus sign and start answering the questions I've set up. You can see that this message appears telling me I have poor location accuracy. This is a good sign to have when you're out in the field, but I'm going to ignore this right now. The little yellow triangle indicates that this is a required field and that I must fill it out. I'm going to go through and fill out my information, put in a date, and now I can add an attachment. I'll click on my paperclip icon, and you can see I can choose to upload a picture from a gallery, so a photo I have saved on my phone already, or take a picture. I'm going to choose camera and take a picture of my view. Looks good. You can add more than one attachment or one picture to the same point. The next step is to go back to the map and tell the map where I want this point to be located. Since I don't have very good cell reception right now, I'm going to just tap the map with my finger to add a point. The last step is to click on the check mark, which will send the dataset into ArcGIS Online right away. If I were outside, I could keep collecting features over and over. There's no limit to how many features you can add using the Collector app. I'm going to go back into my map and open it, and the point that I just added will appear. When you click on it, you'll see pop up with all of the information you just filled out and the picture you attached. The way attachments work with Collector is that they open up in a new tab. If I made a spelling mistake, I could come back in and edit any of the information, and everything would be great. Let's go back to Collector and look what it looks like if I were to download this map for offline use. I'm going to click on my download button. The next thing you need to do is choose the work area. This is because we're not going to download the base map in ArcGIS Line of the entire world. That would be take up way too much space on our phone. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more because I know I'm going to be collecting data around here. And click download. What this is doing is making a local copy on my device. Whenever I collect a point, it's going to save it on my device. And when I get back into Wi-Fi, I need to sync the points or upload them to ArcGIS Online. Now I've downloaded the map onto my device. I'm going to open it back up and add another point. I can see the point that I just added a couple minutes ago is waiting on the map for me. I'm going to click Add. I'm getting this warning again about poor location accuracy. I'm going to take one more picture. Go back to my map and tap on the map and click OK. If I go back into the main part of the Collector app, you can see that I have one point that I still have to sync to ArcGIS Online. This number 1 will change depending how many different points you added onto the map when you had downloaded it offline. Now let's say I'm back in my school, I'm back in Wi-Fi, I want to upload this point into ArcGIS Online. All I do is click on Sync, and it will make a copy of the point or points I collected and add them to the web map into ArcGIS Online. Let's take a look. Go back into this web map and just refresh the page. Now I can see the 2 points that I collected are on the map. If you're looking for inspiration about how you can use the Collector app with your students, I encourage you to read about and watch Greg Anderson, a teacher at Perth and District Collegiate Institute. His class of grade 12 students paired up with a local mine to help them map the various types of trees found at one of their mine locations. The project was very successful, and the school and the mine plan to continue to do future projects together in the coming years. This is my personal email if you'd like to contact me directly with any questions about the Collector app. Thanks for tuning in, enjoy the rest of your week, and happy mapping!